You know, one thing I can never stand about politicians and politics is the self-defense and right to own and bear and keep firearms that they try to use to help them get elected. This goes for both sides, but I really can't stand when Democrats and liberals do it because these are people who don't understand the right to bear and keep arms, and they say stupid stuff out their mouth that us who understand firearms, work with firearms, own firearms for self-defense of ourselves and families understand. They say stupid things like ghost gun, which is not the name of a gun, but they'll say, hey, this is a ghost gun, or they'll say things such as, oh, the laws we are making up are common sense. When there's no such thing as a common sense gun law, the founding fathers put it exactly how it was supposed to be. How is you limiting my right to carry this around the streets going to keep a criminal from running into a bank and using the gun that looks like this? They don't do background checks. They don't go and do the right proper forms, the right proper training before they can get a gun. But you're limiting people who do the proper things and the people who go and take the class and get, trained to use these firearms. You're limiting how they can have them, how many bullets they can carry, when criminals don't get the same limitation because they don't obey laws in the first place. I hate how politicians come out with these new laws and say that we're going to have common sense gun laws that's going to protect anybody. All they're really protecting is criminals. They're guaranteeing that a person who is not a criminal cannot defend themselves because it's harder for them to get a gun. But a criminal who doesn't have to go through the proper channels can now get a gun and use it on a person who cannot legally get a gun. This is why I hate that the right to defend yourself becomes a political issue. It should never be a political issue. The woman I'm talking to now, we were actually talking a little bit earlier. She was saying how she doesn't really like guns, but she respects my right that I own and carry them, and that I'm in law enforcement. And I won't force her to ever get a gun or to believe in guns the way I do for defense, because it's her right not to own guns. And I'll tell you how I actually feel about guns. I've thought this quite a few times. Owning and carrying a firearm off duty is actually a burden. Owning and carrying a firearm is actually something that I don't want to have to do all the time. There are times that I've wanted to go out the house and go, I don't feel like putting this, even though a gun is 5 pounds extra. There's days that I didn't want that extra 5 pounds on my waist or inside my waistband or in a holster. There's days that I just want to go out without a gun. But then I think, what if something goes on? I'm the person in that area who's trained. I don't know who else is around me to actually be able to step up and protect from somebody doing something stupid in the area. Carrying a gun is a burden, but it's a burden that I've taken on, that I've trained for, that I'm the person who says that I will protect anybody near around me, my loved ones, my partner, anyone, because I've trained with this firearm. I hate that firearms have become a political issue. I hate that the right to defend yourself is something that politicians use in order to get votes of ignorant people. I don't know if it's they know that the people are ignorant or they're ignorant themselves and they think that, hey, maybe this is how guns work instead of actually going to learn how a gun works. Defending yourself should not be a political issue. Defending yourself should be defending yourself, and politicians should leave it alone.